Today, the National Climate Change Office completed day one of a training that is critical for the successful implementation of the country's National Climate Change Gender Action Plan that spans through to 2027. The goal is to integrate gender considerations into socio-economic development in indigenous communities, remote areas, and among communities that are already being impacted by climate change.
We create these policies and plans. It is not for us to internalize them and to implement them ourselves. It's for us to work with everyone in order to ensure that they are implemented. And so, as I mentioned, our job is to work with everyone. We all have a part to play in managing climate change, whether you're in government and out of government. So we have to reach everybody. We have to give them the education. We need to give them the capacity. We need to help them to get the resources, whether it's financial or otherwise.
And so, the training is engaging ministries and also non-governmental organizations that deal with vulnerable groups and communities across the country. Yache Conservation Trust works in southern Belize with Maya communities, where there is intergenerational dependency on forest resources for livelihoods. Carleen Maivich shares the importance of building their resiliency to climate change.
We work a lot with indigenous communities, and these are communities that are dependent on the forest resources, and typically the communities that are heavily dependent on forest resources, those are communities that are impacted a lot by climate change. And so we felt that it was necessary to participate in this initiative, both so that we can learn from what our partners in conservation are doing, and also that we can share our best practices. We do a lot of farming, and we know that food security is one of the things that the communities that we work with, they're very much concerned about. So we wanted to see how we can build our capacity to greater incorporate both men and women and even the youth in our initiatives.
There's always space for youths to be engaged, and Daryl Avila from Y Lab explains how the information will be disseminated to young people across the country.
We want to start to integrate ourselves in these type of workshops, mainly for the fact that climate change is something that is very much prominent all over the world. So we want to create a space whereby we want to go back in these communities, especially vulnerable communities, to inform not only the mature population, but also the younger population that is coming up, so they can be able to help their own communities and help themselves to be able to be resilient to climate change.
So far, the project has carried out a number of activities, some of which were outlined by Deputy Chief Climate Change Officer Colin Mattis.
The project is doing a lot of activities that reach out to farmers that are in need, people in marginalized communities that maybe need water. The Ministry of Rural Transformation, they got a water bowser, some call it a water truck, that is used to distribute water around these communities, giving financial assistance to NGOs that need money to implement their activities for climate change resilience. And so those are some of the main activities that the project is implementing within the country. But the project is also ensuring that gender is mainstreamed in strategies and policies and actions in our sister ministries and departments.
The End Gender project is sponsored by the UK and Canadian governments and is being implemented in 9 Caribbean countries. Duane, Moody for News 5.